Welcome back. My name is Dr. Mamoun Najjar, and I am on a mission to help people live a life filled with meaning, impact, and fulfillment. Throughout my life, I have searched for the blueprint to a purposeful life. This search has led me to creating this YouTube series based on my book, The Drop That Contains the Ocean, An Intelligent Pursuit of Optimal Being. It is the product of years of study, practice, and personal experiences, which have allowed me to develop key principles that can help anyone create a life of contribution, success, and joy. Welcome to Chapter 8 of our journey. In this chapter, we will explore how culture shapes our lives, guides our values, and strengthens communities, from families to organizations. It emphasizes how intentional culture creation can drive purpose, unity, and lasting impact. So let's sit back and relax as we continue on this journey. Welcome back. My name is Dr. Mamoun Najjar, and I am on a mission to help people live a life filled with meaning, impact, and fulfillment. Throughout my life, I have searched for the blueprint to a purposeful life. This search has led me to creating this YouTube series based on my book, The Drop That Contains the Ocean, An Intelligent Pursuit of Optimal Being. It is the product of years of study, practice, and personal experiences, which have allowed me to develop key principles that can help anyone create a life of contribution, success, and joy. Welcome to Chapter 8 of our journey. In this chapter, we will explore how culture shapes our lives, guides our values, and strengthens communities, from families to organizations. It emphasizes how intentional culture creation can drive purpose, unity, and lasting impact. So let's sit back and relax as we continue on this journey. Early humans learned that their chances for individual survival were slim without the cooperation of others to help defend against predators, gather food, protect the weak, bury their dead, and build shelters. Punishment for breaking tribal laws was severe. Individuals were exiled and forced to face life alone in a cruel world. This was a death sentence, so our ancestors followed the rules. There is strength and safety in numbers and pride of belonging. It is our nature to create tribal bonds with our families, communities, countries, colleagues, friends, co-workers, and peers. Group members enjoy a sense of safety and belonging, which is more easily said than done because no matter how tightly knit a group is, individuals have their ideas about allocating resources. Inevitably, one's values clash with the values of others. How do societies coexist harmoniously while ensuring mutual survival and maintaining a cohesive group identity? Culture has many different components. It is how a group is united through codes of living, such as behavioral norms, morality, systems of belief, and other ways of life, such as religion, cooking, dress code, and language. Culture can be passed down from generation to generation and can be created for associations, communities, or values-based organizations. It enables humans to live together and be committed to the same value system. It reduces conflict and makes it easier for individual and group tasks to be completed. There are many recipes for creating your own culture. First, you must clarify what is important to you and understand how to live accordingly. Only then can you figure out how to create a community, and by that, we mean a family, company, group, or bigger or smaller social circles. It can be as simple as mom's rules at home, or as large as organizational or national culture. It is not as difficult as it sounds if one has the courage and willingness to do the work. A well-defined culture is a tool of productivity. It is an engine that facilitates achievement in all your environments: home, community groups, and business organizations. The culture in each area propels everyone toward the same goals and mission. The culture works for you, whether or not you are present. The great thing about culture is that it can be tuned to fit your purpose. There is no need to micromanage all of the details. If the culture is well established, the children can easily absorb it and pass it on to future generations. A structured and verified basic philosophy helps you see things in the world as they are and instructs you on how to engage with your surroundings. Your philosophy is the guiding principle for your behavior. You are not built for failure, and you have many tools to make progress. With the right approach, you can enjoy experiences, become significant to yourself and others, and can learn to navigate the rivers of life properly. Your life's purpose is not to suffer, but to discover and appreciate your many gifts and pursue your interests. We all were created for a purpose, and that purpose is good. It requires creative thinking. Avoid feelings of despair and frustration. Get up each day and do your best. Even if you fail by the end of the day, all will be well. No one succeeds without many failures. Remember that abiding by your deeply verified and based values gives you the confidence to achieve your needs, wants, and mission as you continue to work hard. There is no one-size-fits-all where values are concerned. Different values suit different people. However, one principle that applies to all values is do the right and good thing. Many texts, whether religious or not, stand for this principle. The recipe for well-being is simple, but abiding by it requires effort because of the temptation to follow the will of others for the sake of survival in the group. You will succeed if you consistently strive to do what is right and good for yourself and others, with commitment and without hypocrisy. Once we have identified our values, it is time to pursue our life's purpose. We can acquire simple or elaborate tools to live out our values. These tools allow us to reflect, review, learn, and finally practice what we preach. Books can show us the way, but we are the ones who have to implement the lessons in our lives. Before a group culture can be established, one must reflect deeply to clarify one's terms. A measure of self-awareness is critical. You must ask yourself, what good am I trying to do in my life and the world? And what is the formula that answers most of the why questions? Deep search and questioning will go a long way. Once you have determined your values, you must figure out how to apply them within the group. There are solutions for living fulfilled lives in the presence of others and the world. Successful businesses have created cohesive organizational cultures. A values-based organization strives to create an environment that matches the values of its employees and target audiences. Why? Happy employees are hardworking employees. They treat their customers and co-workers respectfully and share a common goal: profitability. A happy customer is loyal to your brand. A values-based organization reduces attrition and improves the bottom line. Many business books explain how to create a culture within an organization. A crucial tenet of culture creation is that it must be practiced daily. Even after establishing a culture in a community or organization, it will fade like the morning fog without consistent and conscious implementation. It is essential to always keep your culture resonating in your mind. This is how the brain works. Keep stressing to yourself what is most important, or else your mind will become occupied with unhelpful ideas or distractions to other things. Consider this example of cultural creation from Islam. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, established a new faith system for a new nation. He incorporated aspects of anthropology, biology, geography, and spirituality, and pondered how people and issues intersect, such as politics, blood ties, and warfare. It was an enormous undertaking, but that did not distract him from having compassion and raising excitement about a new community. He established the first Muslim state in Medina, and while some monumental buildings were under construction, little children came to the building site to sing songs to him. He always stopped what he was doing to express his admiration for the children's voices. They would tell him they loved him, and he would tell them how much he loved them back. The lesson is this: there is always room and time for compassion, no matter how much we are distracted by the chaos of life. Again, using Islam as an example, there are daily practices such as praying 5 times daily and saying certain supplications. There are also weekly practices and anchors like community prayer on Fridays. Once a year there is fasting the month of Ramadan, and once in a lifetime there is a pilgrimage, or Hajj, to the holy city of Mecca. The intensity of such practices matches the energetic flow of thoughts and emotions in the human brain and mind. These practices demonstrate the power of Islam to help navigate through today's secular world. And so it is that culture creation serves as a North Star to guide groups of distinct individuals towards common goals. When I started my medical practice about 17 years before writing this book, I sought the advice of a successful medical practice owner. I told him about my professional aspirations, and he told me to just do everything I needed to succeed. He also said that I should remind my staff of our values many times a day. He told me to keep repeating this process day in and day out. Daily practice leads to achievement. A third aspect of culture creation is the need for anchors. For example, you can have regularly scheduled bonding events like dinners, celebrations, and award ceremonies with your groups, be they your friends, families, or community members. Such events reinforce cultural values and goodwill. Culture creation is crucial for raising children. We often think we are the only ones raising our kids, but the inescapable truth is that an entire community influences their lives. An ancient West African proverb says, It takes a village to raise a child. This means that children are raised and integrated into the culture by everyone around them, not just the parents. Teachers, extended family, social media, television, and the cultures around us influence a child's mind at least as much as parental guidance. Influence and education come from other people in the village, helping to raise your children while you, as the parents, raise them to be good people. The culture creates an environment where the children learn to cherish their values and flourish. Therefore, we must be as aware of these external influences as possible when raising our young ones. Keep driving home the lessons you wish to impart to your kids. Keep culture creation simple for yourself and your children. Declare explicitly your values, what you stand for, and what you are trying to do to ensure a better world for future generations. Your values become reference points for your team, family, and neighbors. It gives you a guide. This guide, this code, will help you navigate a positive path with people radically different from you. Cultures can also be modified and enhanced by tuning the elements of the group's structure, changing procedures for doing things, and developing the traits of the people involved through education and acknowledgement. After successfully creating a local culture, you can expand and bring your new ideas to a broader community. I recommend finding every initiative that aligns with your values and trying to form alliances. This is the essence of networking. As a physician, I am involved in associations that update me on the latest medical field changes. These associations also provide opportunities for exchanging knowledge, making new contacts, and improving skills. Networking locally, nationally, and internationally is beneficial for everyone. It keeps you in touch with reality. An article by Sally Percy in Forbes magazine, 6 Top Tips for Networking in the New World of Work, offers simple yet effective strategies for building positive relationships. These tips apply to all life domains, not just your career, and are as follows. Reach out to people you've lost contact with. Sow the seeds now for long-term networking success. Be early to video calls. Be someone whom others can turn to. Be clear on why you want to build a meaningful connection. Remain relevant. According to Professor Greg Whitwell, Chair of DEMES Global Alliance in Management Education and Dean of the University of Sydney Business School, one tip is to contact people you've lost contact with. Make a concerted effort to reach out to contacts you have lost touch with, he says, or inquire about how your colleague's business venture is progressing, he says. Another tip is to invest in present relationships so that they can blossom in the future. You don't plant a crop when you're hungry, says Audrey Clegg, Group Talent Director at Coca-Cola HBC. It's the same with growing a network. Clegg suggests being patient as we build our networks. Determine what you can offer others to begin a conversation with those with whom you'd like to create a relationship. Another tip from the article states that you should always be that special someone upon whom others depend. In an age of digital connectivity, there are increasingly more ways of communicating and connecting with people. Whether others in your network ask you to deliver something in person, finish an online project by a specific date, or send a mass email by midnight, always be the person who executes well and on time. Finally, network with people with whom you can grow mutually beneficial relationships. It is a waste of everyone's time if you have nothing to offer to the people you are networking with. Find people who share your interests, goals, and values. Find ways to provide benefits to others. Furthermore, they should not view other people as a means to an end. Professor Sunita Malhotra of the Louvain School of Management in Belgium says, "Successful networking means being clear on why you want to build a meaningful connection, and that it is about long-term give and take, not just a one-sided relationship. Maximize your education and workplace networks, connect with senior role models, and approach them to mentor you. Give your time and expertise to help colleagues through volunteer work or guest lectures. Survival of the many is not unique to humans. According to a Princeton University study, researchers studied ant groups ranging in size from 1 to 16 individuals. They selected ants for their study because of their simple social organization and because all the individuals are genetically identical. Every ant has a specific task to perform. The scientists discovered that group needs like hunger were becoming more stable as groups got larger and division of labor emerged. This explains how complex societies succeed. There are enough ants with specific knowledge to perform complex tasks, and there is never a shortage of qualified individuals to do the work. After all, a single ant is not so bright. but an ant colony is more intelligent than Google search. In Islam, there is a concept called URF. URF refers to a society's cultural norms, which are not necessarily legally enforceable, but are rules that every decent person follows according to the culture. It is a collective action that benefits the community. A whistleblower plays a vital role in the collective consciousness by recognizing and reporting behaviors threatening to erode the values upheld in the cultural URF. According to whistleblowers.org, a whistleblower reports waste, fraud, abuse, corruption, public health and safety dangers. In any organization, the mere presence of a whistleblower pressures everyone to behave more ethically than they might have in the absence of a whistleblower. Of course, even in the presence of a whistleblower, people still behave unethically. Whistleblowers are defenders of truth, and may we all be blessed to have such peers in our lives. In any organization, the mere presence of a whistleblower pressures everyone to behave more ethically than they might have in the absence of a whistleblower. Of course, even in the presence of a whistleblower, people still behave unethically. After all, whistleblowers expose the unjust actions of the Watergate scandal, the Vietnam War, and the lies of the tobacco industry. We are all blessed to have such peers in our lives. Whistleblowers call our attention to the flip side of URF, which is the complete reversal of the beneficial public conscience. We are surrounded by and victimized by this dark side. For example, there are healthcare industry groups, many of which perform below par, leading to the widespread use of opioids, the spread of trial viruses, and loopholes that the pharmaceutical industry finds. They also influence politicians and, in turn, medical education. Change is inevitable. When creating a culture, you must ensure that it will survive all the changes that will inevitably occur around you. Ask yourself who you are at the very beginning of your culture creation. This is especially important in business. According to a Gallup poll, nearly half of employees have yet to learn their company values. As I emphasized, make your purpose known to all organizations or community members. Next, you must consider thoughtfully choosing who will be part of your culture. More than formal interviews are required. It would be best to integrate only those who will sustain and improve the culture you seek to establish. Some people may not share your values initially, but they may be open to changing. John Coleman, co-author of Passion and Purpose. Stories from the best and brightest young business leaders, explains what makes a great corporate culture. Many of his observations can be applied beyond the workplace to the local community, the family, and even the country. While every culture is unique, the best ones always possess 6 common traits. The first is a clear vision or mission statement that uses short but purposeful phrases. Adherents to the culture will always remember the mission statement as they go about their day-to-day tasks. Some powerful mission statements include the Alzheimer's Association's dedication to a world without Alzheimer's and Oxfam's ideal of a just world without poverty. If you can nail down your culture's perfect mission statement, you can provide a foundation for everyone in the culture. The second common trait of great cultures is a robust set of values that guide individuals' actions and mindsets as they work to achieve the culture's overall vision. For example, McKinsey & Company has written down a concise set of values that they regularly send to all employees called the 5 Ps: 1. Portfolio strategy and products. 2. People and culture. 3. Processes and systems. 4. Performance metrics. 5. Positions and engagement. Another prominent example is Google's famous "Don't Be Evil" slogan. So long as a culture's values are authentic, the culture should be able to benefit from them. An influential culture will have practices that align with its values. For example, Wegmans values caring and respect, and it promises potential employees they will love working there. In practice, Fortune ranks it among the top 5 companies for which to work. That is what it means for practices to follow values in a culture. The best cultures retain people who share their purported values and are enthusiastic about manifesting them in their actions. A well-written mission statement and set of values are excellent, but without people to carry them through, they mean nothing. The most productive companies on earth have the strictest recruiting policies. Charles Ellis, author of What It Takes, 7 Secrets of Success from the world's greatest professional firms, believes that the most outstanding companies are fanatical about recruiting new employees who are not just the most talented but also the best suited to a particular corporate culture. Be diligent when recruiting new members into your culture. The best cultures foster beautiful narratives. Every culture has its history and therefore its unique story. Leaders of any culture should take advantage of this and discuss the culture's history with anyone who will listen. The history should be told in an engaging and authentic storytelling format. For example, Coca-Cola invests resources into celebrating its history, and even has its museum in Atlanta. Such narrative practices make the culture far more relatable. Finally, a quality culture takes its physical spaces exceptionally seriously. Even if a culture has a solid vision, strong values, and devoted people, making progress in a bland, tasteless room can take time. Pixar boasts a large open court for its employees to bump into each other and foster creative exchanges spontaneously. To be sure, different cultures will require different strategies. Regardless, in building a culture, one must consider the kind of spatial distribution, architecture, and aesthetics that will best align with the culture's vision. The most essential ingredient in developing a community is not land, language, or blood. It is emotional bonding. Even if people are separated by space, race, and language, they can come together if they can bond emotionally. What are you trying to do on this earth? The answer to this question determines your values, so we have come full circle. Who are the biggest failures in life? The ones who miss the point of what it means to be alive and do not devote their entire passion to pursuing a noble purpose. If we fail, we lose everything on earth and beyond. The point of life is to pursue your purpose with everything you have. Determining your purpose first takes focus, studying, and soul-searching. For example, suppose a man of God, a scholar, or a warrior applies their gifts mainly to gain wealth, recognition, or power. In that case, they become insignificant people who aren't willing or able to pursue a noble purpose for the sake of their communities. They become self-aggrandizing, selfish, and unenlightened. If you struggle to achieve your goals, step back and discover an honorable code of conduct. Anyone who has found their purpose can thrive by living according to a specific set of principles. When figuring out which values have meaning for you, the how is not enough. You also need to determine your why. Why do you want to make a lot of money, have exactly one child, or become a famous musician? Only after you have answered such questions should you figure out which life values will help you achieve your goals. Every time, though, the values should always come with a philosophical explanation. We should never unthinkingly do anything. Instead, it would be best if you always understood why taking a course of action makes sense. If we miss our chance to thrive, it is gone forever. To avoid this, we must pick up the tools to succeed, be well, and find fulfillment. This does not mean we will not struggle. There is more to life than happiness. You can take drugs and be happy, but addiction is not the kind of happiness we want. It is just the opposite. We must pursue a much deeper kind of happiness. Instead, we must pursue our passions, help random souls thrive, live in search of the deepest curiosities of what is, and leave the world a more elegant and meaningful place. In conclusion, every person is unique. We don't get along with everybody, but we can still function as a unified community when raised in the same culture. In this, there is a standard code that everyone acknowledges as the way we choose to do things. A culture is an environment in an organized group of people, families, communities, ethnicities, organizations, etc., that creates and dictates a particular way of life. We celebrate the same holidays, speak the same language, and follow the same customs. Culture demonstrates a group's beliefs and unique way of doing things. At its simplest, culture is a self-driving productivity tool that inspires unity regarding what is acceptable in a given environment. One example of the binding effect of culture is the pooling of knowledge and resources within a community or village to raise children. Suppose you want to improve your impact, influence, and productivity. In that case, you should spend a good amount of effort creating a culture or modifying an existing one, by working with the most effective elements of group structure, procedures, and people's traits. For example, there is only so much parents can do to protect children against the potentially hostile forces of peers, schooling, and media. However, they are more impactful by building the surrounding village. Within cultures, people mix, mingle, associate, and find compatible ways to improve and expand influence. They learn new and better ways of doing things, create efficiencies, and significantly impact the world. We call this networking. It prevents the culture from closing in on itself by expanding group consciousness and keeping us grounded in reality. Thank you for joining me on Chapter 8 of our journey. I hope you can take this time to reflect back on what we have gone over. To make things easier, here are some of my key takeaways from this part of the chapter. In the next video, we will start to explore Chapter 9 of my book, where we will weave together the early concepts we have discussed by introducing key traits, strategies, and skills that empower us to realize tremendous success, achievement, and personal advancement. Inshallah, we will see each other then. Don't forget to like and subscribe.